Welcome everyone to the West Milton Council meeting for March 12th, 2024. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for the invocation by Mike Schmidt. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this evening, and Lord, thank you for this springtime where all things become new, and Lord, we just give you praise for being able to hold a meeting here in this great country. Father, I want to thank you for all these people in this room that are sitting around this bench and at these tables that have dedicated their lives to serving, and we count it an honor that they are serving the residents of West Milton. Lord, I pray for wisdom in their thoughts, Lord, wisdom in their words, Lord, that we can continue to go forward in this village. And Lord, may everything today and here tonight be said for your honor and your glory, for it's through Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Sir. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hurst.
Present.
Ms. Metz. Here. Mr. Horn.
Here.
Ms. Gregory.
Here.
Mr. Dorman. Mr. Cox.
Here.
Mr. Fogel.
Here. All right. Mr. Fogel was absent from the council workshop on February 27th. Are there any motions to excuse Mr. Fogel from this meeting?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dorman. Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Ms. Metz.
Yes.
Ms. Gregory.
Yes.
Mr. Fogel.
Abstain.
Mr. Cox.
Yep.
Mayor Hurst.
Yes. Thank you. Council should have received the minutes for the February 13th regular council meeting and the February 27th council workshop. Are there any discussion about the minutes? Are there any motions for approval?
I move to approve the minutes from February 13th council meeting and February 27th workshop.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dorman. Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Ms. Metz.
Yes.
Ms. Gregory.
Yes.
Mr. Fogel.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yep.
Mayor Hurst.
Yes. Mr. Manager, was there any correspondence to council?
No, Mayor, none was received.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments from citizens regarding tonight's legislation?
Hi, I'm Mike Kraft, West Milton, Ohio. Beautiful West Milton. Regarding tonight's resolution, CM 24-12, in light of the fact that we're in an emergency situation where we're looking for a tax increase, because is that what the resolution is introduced? I think it was in the beginning of December, where there was a tax increase.
There was no tax increase in December?
Well, there was
any
a resolution authorizing the manager to be able to do a tax increase, is that right?
No, not
What
even
was that?
slightly. That was what the state had passed and then mandated that each community pass and put into their own, legislation. It was nothing to do with us.
Authorizing
It was-
emergency, what
that
was
was-
it, taxation?
That was all the state. That was none of us.
Mhm. Are we at a deficit now, or are we at a surplus with our budget? West Milton.
I know we're not at a deficit.
Yeah, no, we're no more than what was budgeted.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to voice my opposition to the resolution to increase his compensation by 5%.
Well, that was negotiated late last year, but for some
Yeah, I
reason
know.
didn't get
Yeah,
passed.
I remember that one, yeah.
So-
is negotiating, trying to make it a little more difficult for different council members and so forth to be able to remove Manager Sheridan, I think was what it was said, something like that.
Wow.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I was gonna say, I don't remember being at that meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the 5% reflects the across the board to all employees. But because he's a contract employee, we do it through resolution.
Mm-hmm,
And so that's the only thing you're seeing here.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But your first part, your base is wrong to begin with. We didn't pass anything that said we were an emergency, nor did we pass anything that said we wanted to increase taxes at any
now,
point.
you're saying that was state mandated, that having emergency authorization, allowing council or the manager to, what was that again?
It didn't allow the manager to raise
No.
taxes or anything. We passed it in an emergency because it needed to be in place by January 1. It was not an emergency measure saying that we were in any way in trouble. We needed to do it speedily because it needed to be done to satisfy the state by January 1. And I don't have the text in front of me of what that resolution was, but it was a housekeeping
It was
issue.
done
that
as
the state-
speedily, you're right.
That the state mandated that everybody have or bring their tax code up to date. It changed some things with work from home, taxing or things of that nature, but there was no additional tax to residents.
It seemed to me it was coinciding at the same time that Manager Sheridan said that he could raise West Milton taxes up to 1%.
They're already at 1%, so they can't go any higher without going to the ballot.
And I've never stated anything
And,
like that.
yeah, I don't remember him stating that either, but still, you can't unless we go to the ballot. Because once it hits the 1% threshold, there is no, we can just sign legislation and it makes it additional tax. It has to go to the people to vote on it.
Yeah, that's the way I understood levies to operate in Ohio, but I thought Mayor Sheridan had said something about being able to raise taxes up to, but not include, well, yeah, up to 1%. So what was that then?
State law.
Explain that again?
Yeah, since it's already at 1%,
Uh-huh,
to add any more tax, it has to go to the ballot.
uh-huh.
There is no, like, up to 1%, council or any legislative body that has the ability to tax can put on up to a 1% total tax. But at 1.1, that 0.1 has to go to the people to vote on it.
Okay,
And to clarify, if I'm not mistaken, the 1.5% income tax that we have in the village, the 1% is what you're talking about. The other 0.5% is for fire and police,
yeah,
correct?
I remember that. I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's been no talk about that increasing or anything going to the ballot
At
in
all.
any way, shape, or form, correct?
nope.
No.
I'm glad I stand corrected. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to understand that.
Thank you.
So we're not at a deficit,
No,
okay. So where do we stand on West Bend, if I may ask? I mean, in relation to, you know, pay increases and everything. Where do we stand in terms of surplus or our,
that would be a question best asked to the finance director, honestly.
Jill?
Yeah,
Okay.
she'd be able to give you actual numbers where we can just say, well, we're good, but that really isn't gonna satisfy your question, I wouldn't think.
And a copy of the budget, too.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
get all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll request that. I can submit for that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Okay,
all right. Thanks a lot, Mike.
thank you.
Are there any other comments from citizens regarding tonight's legislation? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. CM-24-10. Ms. Brosh?
It's a resolution awarding a contract for the construction of the Hay Street Water Main Project. Whereas the Hay Street Water Main Replacement Program project for the municipality of West Milton was properly bid according to Chapter 33 of the Code of Ordinances. And whereas the bidding process produced an acceptable contractor to perform the construction project, Finfront Construction Company Incorporated of Covington, Ohio. And whereas the funding for the Hayes Street Water Main Replacement Project has been approved, and council can award the contract for this project to Finfront Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $1,031,000. And whereas council understands that there may be change orders received from Finfront Construction Company Incorporated throughout the construction process, and that if these changes are necessary in order to continue with the construction of the Hayes Street Water Main Project, they will need to be approved in an expedited manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the council hereby awards a contract to Finfront Construction Company Incorporated for the Hayes Street Water Main Replacement Project in the amount of $1,031,000. Section 2, the municipal manager is hereby directed to execute all the proper documents relating to said project. Section 3, the municipal manager is hereby authorized and directed to accept contract change orders from Finfront Construction Company Incorporated within the municipal manager's discretion that he finds to be necessary for the construction of the Hayes Street Water Main Project in an amount not to exceed 10% of the original contract price. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage.
Thank you. Manager Sheridan?
Yeah, as council may recall, this project was discussed in detail at the council workshop. I believe Mr. Herron provided a great deal of information. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions that the council or the mayor may have.
Any questions from council?
Just clarification again with this. The funding source for this, we have an OPWC grant that's we have for $150,000. We have an OPWC loan as well for $546,210, and then we have an OWDA estimate, which is $414,790. That comes to our 1.11 million. That is the total. That includes the engineering along with the construction, correct?
Yeah, the engineering would be a separate contract, but it's certainly within the budget.
That's okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
All right, any additional questions from council? Are there any motions for CM-24-10?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution CM 24-10.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dorman, Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Metz,
Yes.
Ms. Gregory,
Yes.
Mr. Fogel.
Yes.
Mr. Cox, Mayor Hurst.
Yes. Next on the agenda is CM-24-11. Ms. Brosh.
A resolution to award a contract for the double micro sealing of Calumet Road. Whereas it is necessary to maintain our streets and service areas within the municipality. And whereas this project has been quoted by a vendor that is giving West Milton the State of Ohio bid number 101G25 pricing. And whereas the project will be funded out of the 2024 operating budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the council awards a contract to Strasser Construction Incorporated of Columbus, Ohio, in the amount of $72,277 for micro sealing and pavement markings. Section 2, the Director of Service is hereby authorized to execute all the proper documents and contracts required to complete said program. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage.
All right, thank you. Manager Sheridan?
Again, this project was discussed in the council workshop. I would remind everyone that this is another example of the village working cooperatively with another unit of government, in this case, the township. It's something that I try to encourage any opportunity where we can work together with nearby communities, that we should take advantage of those opportunities.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council? Are there any motions?
I make a motion, we okay the CM 2411.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dorman, Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Metz,
Yes.
Ms. Gregory,
Yes.
Mr. Fogel,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mayor Hurst.
Yes. Next on the agenda is CM-24-12.
It's a resolution approving the increase in salary of the municipal manager, D. Jeffrey Sheridan, by 5% beginning January 1st, 2024. Whereas the current municipal manager, D. Jeffrey Sheridan, was originally hired in April 26, 2021, and his contract was renewed by Resolution CM-23-25 on May 9th, 2023. And whereas the Council for the Municipality of West Milton believes that the municipal manager, D. Jeffrey Sheridan, shall receive a 5% increase in his current salary, which reflects the same percentage increase given to other municipal employees for the year 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, Council hereby establishes the current salary for the municipal manager, D. Jeffrey Sheridan, shall be increased by 5% effective January 1st, 2024. Section 2, that this resolution shall be effective on and after the earliest date permitted by law.
Thank you. Manager Sheridan?
I believe the resolution speaks for itself.
Yep. All right, any questions from council?
I think it's well deserved. I think.
The only thing I have to say about it is, I have the same, I'm just confused, and I just came on the council then, but I had the same impression that he had about the income tax, so I misunderstood everybody too. And it said that once that he was gonna we gave him the rights to raise the income tax 1%. At one of the meetings, we did discuss that. And then it said that it was an emergency, and he could only do it because the state of Ohio was, that we had an emergency reason why we wanted to increase that. So I don't know where I come up with the same thing that them guys did. And it wasn't from them, but I overheard it too in a meeting. Said that he could okay it as long as the council agreed on it. The council had to give him permission to raise the 1% income tax. Where did I come up with that then?
I have no idea. I
I
can't answer
didn't
that
dream
for you.
of it.
Well, I'm not gonna say
I'm
you
just
did
saying,
dream
I'm
of it,
just
but what I'm
saying
gonna
that
say is
I
that
had
that
a-
would be
I-
breaking all the
I
state laws.
understood the same
and
thing that
so-
some
but
of the
yeah,
people I
I know,
heard
I
of
understand that, that's
heard.
fine. We can talk about this later if you'd like, or, I mean, we can continue here, but I'd prefer to do it later if you want.
May I offer a suggestion? Suggest that you go back and review the minutes, and should you find a section that you believe is somewhat describing what the question you're trying to ask, that probably would be the best starting point of trying to determine where the confusion arose.
Right, yep,
Okay.
all right. So any other questions? All right, are there any motions for CM-24-12?
I motion we approve resolution CM-24-12.
Second.
Third.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dorman? Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Gregory?
Yes.
Mr. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Sustain.
Mayor Hurst?
Yes. Next on the agenda is CM-24-13.
It's a resolution to authorize the municipal manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of 4 sets of turnout gear for the West Milton Fire Department. Whereas the municipality's fire department purchases 4 sets of turnout gear every year in order for the department to provide quality gear to its firefighters. And whereas the price of the purchase of 4 sets of turnout gear for the year 2024 has increased to $15,992 and now requires council approval without formal bidding pursuant to Section 33.18 of the West Milton Codified Ordinances. And whereas council believes it is in the municipality's best interest to enter into a contract with Phoenix Safety Outfitters, Springfield, Ohio, for the purchase of 4 sets of turnout gear to include 4 turnout coats and 4 turnout pants at the price of $15,992. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the council finds that the fire chief has negotiated in good faith for the purchase of 4 sets of turnout gear which are necessary for the fire department. Section 2, the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute a contract for the purchase of 4 sets of turnout gear to include 4 turnout coats and 4 turnout pants at the price of $15,992 from Phoenix Safety Outfitters, Springfield, Ohio. The quote for the purchase of these items is attached hereto and incorporated herein as if fully rewritten. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage.
Thank you. Manager Sheridan?
Yeah, again, this issue was discussed at the council workshop. I believe Chief Jay gave a fairly detailed description of what's transpired. I did expect him to be in attendance tonight in case you had additional questions, but his role as fire chief took precedence as he's out on a run If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But again, I think the resolution is fairly self-evident, and hopefully you got all your questions answered at the workshop.
Yep. Any questions from council?
I make a motion that we approve the 2413.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dorman, Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Gregory?
Yes.
Mr. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mayor Hurst?
Yes. Next on the agenda is CM-24-14.
A resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an electric and natural gas municipal aggregation services agreement with Priority Power Management LLC. Whereas the council for the municipality of West Milton has determined that it is in the best interest of the municipality to continue the governmental aggregation program previously enacted by the municipality. And whereas the council of the municipality of West Milton wishes to enter into an agreement with Priority Power Management LLC for the provision of electric and natural gas municipal aggregation services. And now therefore be it resolved by the council of the municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that section 1, council hereby authorizes the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Priority Power Management LLC pursuant to the terms and conditions contained in the attached Exhibit A incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents associated with said agreement, as well as power of attorneys for each program that authorizes Priority Power Management LLC's managing director to execute the final electric and natural gas aggregation contracts on behalf of the village after bids have been secured and it is collectively decided to move forward with a new agreement. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage.
Thank you. Manager Sheridan.
As instructed at the council workshop, I contacted Mr. Harmon, who has been our contact for several years. He is not available to attend the council workshop at the end of this month, but said he would be available to attend the workshop in April should the council wish him to appear and again explain and answer any questions. As I hope you recall, these agreements are primarily a formality because AGE, the company we initially signed an agreement with, was purchased by another company. And so we're simply giving this new company the same authority in terms of entering into agreements and negotiating, hopefully for a favorable price on purchasing the electric and the gas that we use here in the village. But if you wish to hear from him first, he did indicate that we would have enough time for him to appear in April and answer your questions before you took action.
Are there any questions from council?
So this just carries on what we have had in place for the last year and a half, or is it
Correct.
until
Correct.
the end of the year?
I believe it's till the end of the year because there we were
Right.
scheduled to re-up anyway.
And then it'll be time to re-up for the next
Correct.
contract.
Correct. But,
And I'm good.
I think maybe if you came back when we re-up for the next
Right.
time, but
Yes.
not necessarily right now.
Yep.
Sounds good. I'm sure he will.
Yep. All right. Any additional questions?
I'll make a motion to approve CM 24-14 as, excuse me, 24-15 as read. Is that right?
14.
Oh, I
14.
took the wrong one.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. CM 24-14 as read.
Those
Sorry
new
about that.
councilmen, you just can't count on them.
Sorry about
Second.
that.
All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dorman, Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Gregory?
Yes.
Mr. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mayor Hurst?
Yes. Yep. I just did too.
Sorry about that. I flipped the page.
Next on the agenda is CM-24-15. Ms. Brush.
You
It's
actually
a
wrote
long
it.
one, so
It is a
stick
long
with me here. An ordinance amending section 50.09 regarding sidewalk construction and alterations in the Code of Ordinances for the municipality of West Milton, Ohio. Whereas council believes that curbs within the municipality shall be safe for travelers while assisting in the proper flows of stormwater. And whereas the property owner has always been responsible for keeping their curb section repaired and nuisance-free. And whereas it is necessary to improve the language in section 50.09 of the West Milton Code of Ordinances to reflect this responsibility. Now therefore be it ordained by the council for the village of West Milton, Ohio as follows. Section 1, Section 50.09 of the West Milton Code of Ordinances is hereby amended to read as follows for future clarification. All changes being struck out, underlined, italicized, and bold. Section 50.09, sidewalk construction and alterations. Section A, where land abuts on a street where there is sidewalk, curb, and gutter, or abuts on a crosswalk or driveway approach, the owner of the property land shall be jointly and severally responsible for causing the sidewalk, curb, gutters, driveway approach, and/or crosswalk abutting the land to be kept in good repair and free from nuisance. B, a state of disrepair and/or nuisance exists when it can be reasonably determined that the condition of the public sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk is such as would prevent its safe use by the public. The conditions shall include: 1, a raise or depression between sections in the sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk in excess of 1 inch. 2, loose, chipped, cracked, broken, or deteriorated portions of the concrete surface of this sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk that provides an unstable walking area conducive to tripping. 3, areas of sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk that have been caused to sink or tilt from its normal position due to undermining or sinking of subsurface that would prevent unsafe walking conditions. 4, areas of sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk that have become broken, raised, or tilted by roots of trees to such extent that the public safety would be compromised. Section C, when the municipal manager finds that such sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk is in a state of disrepair or is not free from nuisance, he or she shall notify the owner of the abutting property in writing to have the necessary construction, reconstruction, or repairs made. This notice shall be served on the owner or his agent personally or by registered mail, sent to the last known address of the owner, and by leaving a copy of the notice with the occupant of the premises, if occupied, or left in a conspicuous place on the premises if there is an unoccupied structure. For purposes of such service, any person charged with the collection of rents or payments of taxes on the property or having general control of it in any way shall be considered the agent of the owner. Section D. The notice provided for above shall identify the property and give the location of the sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk, which shall be marked for identification purposes, and the period of time allowed the property owner to have the work done. The time shall be reasonable, but shall not be less than 30 days for construction and not less than 5 days for repairs. Section E, in case of emergency, the municipal manager is authorized to have temporary repairs made or to barricade and caution mark the area as necessary to provide for the public safety. The reasonable cost of emergency repair and protection shall be charged against the abutting property and shall be collected as provided for in Division G below. Section F, upon completion of the municipality of any sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, or crosswalk repair, construction, or reconstruction as provided for within this section, the owner of the abutting property or his or her agent shall be billed for the reasonable cost and expense of the work, whether provided by private contractor or municipal personnel. The bill shall include: 1, all labor and materials required for the construction and repair costs, and 2, a charge for administrative costs of $10 or 10% of the construction costs, whichever is greater, not to exceed $25 for all bills to be applied to the outstanding balance of any bill not paid by the due date. Section G, bills issued under the provisions of Division F above shall be payable within 30 days from the date of the bill. Bills not paid within 30 days shall be certified to the Miami County Auditor to be an assessment against the abutting property. Section H, a property owner may protest any notice of non-emergency repairs or construction or reconstruction to the Board of Adjustment by filing written notice of an appeal within 3 working days of its receipt and prior to the time set for compliance. The board shall hear the protest as soon as practicable without charge and without requiring public notice to be given. The board may then affirm, modify, or overturn the order by the municipal manager and waive any and all charges billed for the property owner. Section I, all construction and repair of sidewalks, curbs, gutters, driveway approaches, and crosswalks shall require a permit and shall be done in accordance with the general requirements of the municipality or the prepared plans and specifications applicable if the construction work is part of a larger public project. Section J, it shall be unlawful for the owner of any lot or land abutting upon any street to refuse, fail, or neglect to repair or keep in repair the sidewalk, curb, gutter, driveway approach, and crosswalk in front of the lot or land after due notice ordering the repair of such sidewalk pursuant to the notice requirements of Division D above. Section K, all sidewalks, curbs, or gutters constructed and or maintained within the municipality's right-of-way shall not be altered or changed by painting, covering, or applying any liquids or solids, excluding colorless concrete sealers not in compliance with the construction standards as contained in Section 152.16. Painting of a sidewalk is strictly prohibited unless done by municipal employees as authorized by appropriate authority. Section L, under certain circumstances, the municipal manager or director of service have the authority to waive some or all of the fees for repairs or replacements regarding sidewalks, curbs, gutters, driveway approaches, and crosswalks. Section 2, this ordinance shall become effective from and after the earliest date permitted by law.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So that was the first reading. Does council have any questions?
How does this affect streets that don't have no sidewalks at all or curbs? How's it gonna affect us?
Well, they won't be required to maintain them since they don't exist. At some point in the future, I would hope that the village would encourage, if not handle the construction of at least the curb that helps protect the street. I think we've learned from our survey that approximately 25% of the village does not have sidewalk. I assume if there's no sidewalk, but there's no curb, but that's not necessarily always true. This just gives more clear language on what the responsibility of the village as well as the residents. So hopefully it will reduce any confusion going forward.
Because Market Street has no gutters on either side.
And that's,
And I talked about putting sidewalks in because I just spent $20,000 on cement work.
and I
And
was,
I get discouraged from residents that, why do you wanna stir up something? So I
Well,
don't wanna get into a mess with my neighbors and everybody else.
I would suggest that I understand a resident not wanting to incur the cost. The fact of the matter is, without curb or gutter, that makes it more likely that the street will deteriorate because it allows moisture to get underneath the surface of the street. And that's what caused a lot of the deterioration. Mr. Herron, would you want to offer any thoughts on the validity of this proposed modification?
Yeah, I mean, basically I hate to say the way it's always been, because that sounds, but really, I mean, it's just clarifying what our policies have always been. And I think we have a responsibility to make it more clear, so that everybody basically can read an ordinance and understand exactly what it means, instead of having interpretations and things like that. And the curbs are extremely important to try and keep in good repair, and it's a very hard job. There's a lot of curb out there that is in need of repair.
Less than ideal shape.
So you have intention of putting curbs up, Market?
No, I
I
mean,
don't know
it's
that
not
we-
on our radar,
No,
no.
I don't think that's nowhere in our 5-year capital
Okay,
improvement
okay.
plan.
Okay, just questioning, okay?
We updated
I
periodically.
do everything I can do to update my property, and I'm not gonna stir up a can of beans right now.
That's understood.
All right. Next on the agenda is the municipal manager's report.
I have nothing to add. Last week's written report was somewhat lengthy. I'd be happy to answer any questions. But we'll be going into spring. Staff will be picking up additional responsibilities as we prepare for summer. We've got several projects planned for this year. Obviously, the Hayes Street Waterline Project, that's another step in trying to get our water infrastructure back up in shape. I would remind everyone, we lose a significant percentage of the water we purchase from the county and from Troy. That obviously costs quite a bit of money. The water's already expensive, even if we used every drop. And so while it's expensive to replace it, I would suggest it's more expensive in the long run to not improve it.
Yep, I agree. All right, thanks.
I have a question.
Sure.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, here in the near term, the Randall Residence is officially going to open its doors.
I believe they're having an open house
They had an
tonight,
open house today.
and it appeared to me very well attended. I believe they hoped to begin accepting residents in the next 30 days.
Okay.
So I was there. It's beautiful. It's so nice. There's so many people there. It was awesome. The first residents will move in the next week or two.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they're gonna do 2 a day, they said. So by the end of March, the people who've already confirmed and paid will be moved in.
So how many beds do they think that they're gonna start occupying, right off the bat, should they say?
I don't know the answer.
She didn't say.
As I recall, they have 10 or 12 in the memory care portion, and I want to say 40 or 50 in the assisted living portion in the facility. And of course, the new, the quads that are part of their project, that will be primarily independent living. That first building is under construction, and they will build them as quickly as they get them occupied.
The quads, I got the postcard, but I don't know the date. We'll have an open house in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, great. So are they going to have like an official opening ribbon cutting? Is there gonna be anything?
I'm not sure that has been planned. We did have a pretty well-attended groundbreaking for the project. Certainly would be appropriate, and I think the village would love to coordinate with them an official ribbon cutting.
They called it a ribbon cutting tonight.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. I'd hoped to attend, but was unable to make it, so perhaps for maybe the opening of the quads, we could do a ribbon cutting.
Question,
Yes, sir.
lighting plan for the north,
Yes,
or
sir.
the south side.
I am scheduled to meet with the developer, I believe it's next week. I had communicated the comments from council and staff about adding additional luminaires at the end of each of the cul-de-sacs. I would hope that they'll give us a confirmation at that time if they agree to it. I think we probably ought to have something in writing to confirm our acceptance of the lighting plan that was not consistent with the original project that was proposed in the planned unit development documents. The normal process would go through the planning board in here, because we didn't have a quorum for a couple of months. And we obviously want them to get the lighting plan completed as soon as possible. I don't know, I mean, I probably should have talked to the law director about the requirements. So it may be a bang bang. We get the planning board to recommend approval and get it to you as quickly as possible. And I think the next step that may cause the most delay is waiting on Miami Valley Lighting, which
Right.
is the street lighting arm of AES. The last time I spoke with them, which was many months ago, they were at least 6 months behind on installing the lights after the contract was signed.
Thank you.
Is there any old business?
I think we need to approve that CM 2415, don't we?
No, it's a
It's a
ordinance,
first
so
reading.
it gets 2 readings.
First,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Do we know if Ron or Jason has given us any update on, you know, like the commercial stuff that was gonna be built out?
They periodically give me minor updates. It's probably getting close enough that it makes sense to put them. I think they were planning to come to a planning board meeting this year, but because of lack of a quorum, we didn't meet for a couple of months. I know in April, we're going to hear the proposal for the Parks and Recreation chapter of the comp plan, so that'll be on there. I will see about getting them on the agenda to give the planning board an update, and then obviously anytime the council wants to hear from them, I'll schedule them for a workshop. It's been a while, so
I know,
probably
I
makes
was
sense to have them.
Thinking they had said something like October, but, you know.
Yeah. Seems like every time they come, it's 6 more months in the future when they're talking about the commercial.
Can't disagree with that perception. But I believe the October date was the last they mentioned on the gas station,
Yeah.
fast food, so.
Yeah, if we could maybe invite them to a
Sure.
workshop at either the end of this month or next month, just to get a
I'll know a lot
update and
more.
have an opportunity
I'll
to
know a
talk
lot-
to them.
Yep, I will talk to them about getting them at an upcoming workshop.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there any new business?
I don't know if I've said this and if it's old business or new business, but on April 8th, there's a solar eclipse and we're having a party in the park. It is my baby, so I'm gonna keep saying it. And we want everybody there and it's gonna be just a lot of fun. So.
Should be great.
All right. I see there's also a planning board vacancy.
Yeah, unfortunately, after multiple attempts to contact the last remaining candidate to fill that vacancy, I've not been able to make connections. So I can either put out more word to see if anybody else is interested, or I'll continue to try to contact the previous candidate.
All right, yeah.
One other update, I'm sorry, I apologize. I should have done this in my report. I don't know if a copy was in your packet, but the reply to the ambulance board from their request went out by certified mail.
All right. Thank you. All right, any comments by citizens?
I have a question. On this water line on 571 out there, and y'all gonna put in on Hay Street, did I catch it right the last meeting? You said there was not gonna be nobody hooked up on it?
No, I think what you might be referring to is we're not doing the lead service line replacements on this project like we did on North Miami Street.
So you're gonna after you put it in, you're gonna re-blacktop it and then cut it back up and have to blacktop it again?
Not sure, you're talking about Hay Street?
Yeah, to hook the residents up on it eventually.
Well, the residents may choose or not to hook up. If they had lead service lines, they certainly need to replace them. Mr. Herron, can you add any?
Yeah, I think the biggest confusion is the lines will be run into the green spaces.
Yeah.
They just won't be connected and run into the houses like they were on North Miami Street. So they'll go to like the curb stop in the right of way, and that's it. So they will be out of the roadway.
Yeah,
So you don't have to blacktop it again?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was never the plan.
All right, any other comments?
Hi, Mike Kraft again. Just to clarify that point there, the lead lines, the lead is not actually touching the water, right?
Correct. So the lead line is actually, everything is incorporated into the lead line to include galvanized line. Galvanized line obviously isn't lead, but what the EPA is saying is that every line that's not copper or certified plastic has to be replaced. So every year we do lead sampling, and then we do a 3-year program with the EPA where we do lead sampling on houses built in 1950 or before. And up to this date, ever since we started, we've never had any lead found in our system.
I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
that was clarified so
Yeah.
that anybody didn't have any big worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah, those are actually on Hay Street, our galvanized lines.
But the lead is around the outside somehow.
No, it's actually, those are galvanized steel.
It's all galvanized?
The EPA basically said, you know what, if it's not copper or plastic, we're gonna call it lead lines and you're gonna have to replace it. So, and because we soften our water, all service lines of that age have, it's like a lime buildup on the inside of the pipe. So
Yeah.
really, it's not touching metal regardless, but we've never had any lead issues with our water.
Yeah, well, lead came up in lead was spoken here, and
Yeah.
so
No,
I
that
just
makes
wanted to
sense.
make sure that
Sure.
everybody was clear that it wasn't, that West
Yeah.
Milton didn't have lead water
Correct.
pipes.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. Also, there was another issue regarding the ordinance 50-09, where Lene had read that, and you referred to, I think this was in CM 24-15. You had referred to ordinance 50-09. And in, I think it was section H, you had said something about the Board of Adjustments and making the decision regarding the sidewalks there. How was that again, section H? I just wanted to make sure that when they made their decision, that it was in a public meeting rather than, it sounded like to me that you said they could just do it at any time according to their whim.
If the Board of Adjustment,
go ahead.
if the Board of Adjustment meets, yes, it has
Yeah.
to be a public meeting. It
And
just
so
doesn't
it
have
is
to
a
be
public meeting.
It doesn't have to be a public hearing,
Doesn't have to be a public hearing?
not a public hearing,
So they
but
can make the decision on some somebody's sidewalk issue, curb issue,
Without having a
without
public
having a
hearing.
public hearing or
Correct.
public meeting whatsoever.
That's not what she said.
No. Nope,
that's
She
not what
said
she
a
said.
public meeting.
That's just what I'm trying to
It
get
has to
at.
be a
I'm trying to
public
get
meeting.
clarification
Right,
on
that's what
that,
she
that it's a
said.
public,
Yes.
because it didn't sound like it. I just was wanting to
Reads
get
right here-
clarification.
It reads right here that it's meeting of the Board of Adjustments. Those are always public meetings.
Yeah.
There's a difference
Well,
between a
that
public
big-
meeting and a
having a
public.
meeting doesn't mean it's always public,
I know.
Mr. Horn. So just getting clarification.
I'm trying to answer you, but you keep talking over me, so.
Oh, he was interrupting, I'm sorry.
There's a difference between a public meeting and a public hearing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're getting confused on. It has to be a public meeting, but they don't have to have a public hearing to hold public comment from anybody else. That's the difference.
Just a public meeting.
Yep.
Just getting clarification on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, seeing none, are there any motions for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Norman? Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Gregory?
Yes.
Mr. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mayor Hurst?
Yes. All right, thank you, everyone.